So let's look at this. Just going to have to read it. This is a shadow docket. It's 69 pages is what I have here. File Mayers versus Scott. This is Charles and Annette Scott, and I've talked to Charles and Annette Scott and to their cousin when I put this story out. Their cousin came forth, Benny, and I actually went and talked to them, and I gave the phone number to the proper authorities for them to call. So, page 1 of 11. 89D02-0602-MF for mortgage foreclosure-025. 06 is for the year, 02 is for the month. It's the Indiana Chronological Case Summary. Today is 11/11/2015, but this was information current as of 2/7/2013. Current as of 2/7/2013 when I told Neil Freeman FBI about this cause number on February 11th. A lawyer posted online the feds had come into offices and courthouse. Had a lot to do with this attorney Welch from Muncie. Plus, the clerk of court gave me an earful when I went in the last week of February. And a big wig named DeLucio friended me on Facebook. He is with Goldman Sachs in the construction business. So I would say this file is a problem. The case only lasted a few months and then was reported closed, but it goes on, and indeed, as of February the 7th at least, it had many redocketed mortgage foreclosures in this Annette and Charles Scott's name. So then I go typed out and handwritten on file and filled in below, plus near end it gives a number and missing numbers. The missing numbers are an ordinance. Short case, many properties. And then I put notice of garnishment and bank account. Annette Scott is a straw buyer. She's not, though. I found out that she actually owned this property, but Charles Scott was to have been on it, and he's taken off. So I suspect Chuck Hyde, who is Charles Hyde, an attorney who's wanted for 29 counts fraud, and I've tried to get him to reach out to him on Facebook. His wife tried to friend me. Evidently, I made her mad because I'm posting this, but it's the fact he's running a bankruptcy mill. All these properties had bankruptcies, and Charles Scott was to have been on that bankruptcy too, and he's not. So it looks like he's assuming identities when he should not be. I said, Charles Scott is Chuck Hyde. He is identified as attorney for Annette Scott in the entry at near the end. Charles Scott is. But Chuck Hyde's the one that enters a bankruptcy. So I said, has a foreign-born birth certificate on file. Annette Scott, and Annette Scott has a foreign-born birth certificate on file, was divorced in 94 from a Jeff Scott. So it is probably fraud, and this cause number will make the judge mad. I tried to plead it without implicating the court against the NATCO lender at 10,007 State Route 38 because NATCO's involved in that 10,007 property. And that lady, Leslie K. Lane, who's identifying herself as such, she wanted to know everything, but she didn't want to call me. So as you can see, Stephanie Beckner, who's from Colorado and was working for Finewell in Hanoi, and now she's out of the system, and it was Mears. Mortgage electronic registration ship, and it was originally in Mears. Dyke O'Neill comes in because they update this field. Mears and Deutsche Bank originally, but changed per internal memo. Judge does not want people to see. They are there. Clerk and judge notes in this file. The pages and post-it notes show the note makers knew and procedures were bypassed. I tried to keep this out of the cause, and I wrote the judge letting him know I discovered this with the help from the government. I just did not want to bring this up because it looks like as if some procedures are not being followed as to the signatures and copies, etc. See the end of the file. Then it's got Betty Cross. There's a William and Betty Cross that owned a whole bunch of land. They've deleted a bunch of it too. Whenever I first started discovering this, they started deleting it out of Fort Wayne, Indiana. But William and Betty Lou Cross, 2717 Northwest B. Notice the quotations. That quotation's pretty serious deal. They don't usually put the address in quotations. This B Street, well, they do that because it takes it to the center city. The B. This is a GPO citation book as well. Also note in this upper field in DocSpot there are no addresses for the property. This is very common. It is a software program they use. It does not treat it as there. It was not set up in the search logic, and I found that out from Bruce at DocSpot, folks. And notice here's Jane Doe and John Doe who are dropped, and there's lots of Jane John Does. We got dear ones in the court records, right? And lawyers collecting insurance and HARP funds and National Mortgage Settlement Act proceeds on the back of shadow dockets. finance system care of C.F. Coleman Jr. Interesting thing is when I got a divorce from William E. Johnson, and that's true, thought I did, they named me Carol Coleman. I think that's interesting, and this finance system's involved in this fraud. I showed that under the 4924 and the use of Rachel's name three different ways. But as you can see, we'll go on down to the second page. There's 32 South Ninth. That's the finance system. Then we got Annette Scott, 202 North 16th. They just foreclosed. They just foreclosed on this property as well in January this year. It still is not in the 422 Randolph Street. Same straw person, but she's really not. I've talked to her. And that was Annette Carter Scott. And she moved to Georgia, said she inherited that property. This address is also in parentheses below, and they did this cause number behind the scenes. It is the judge's file, not the public. It should contain one case and one property. It does not. It should contain the 422 Randolph Street. See where Charles Scott is a defendant as well. Doesn't give an address for him. Here's this Charles Hyde attorney. He's got what one entry is 3,000 something cases on Docs Pop. This Charles Hyde. I get him mixed up. Charles Hyde, the attorney, Chuck Hyde. And here is Gregory A. Horn, which is Honorable Gregory Alton Horn, the judge, right? But you notice the parties. This should say Mears, but they changed it, of course, and updated. They wanted to hide Mears. They don't want anybody to know there's mom's mortgages running through this property under this old foreclosure. Because when Rachel was living here, and I'll show you when, here it shows chronological case summary. Brian Redmond, attorney, files appearance for plaintiff Mears. Plaintiff by counsel files complaint on note into foreclosed mortgage on real estate. Real estate, right, guys? The mom's mortgages are the birth certificates of the moms, the mothers, where they sign their names, their maiden names on those birth certificates. You guys are doing some probate crap here, huh? Some fraud, right? Is this how you administer estates and just bypass the judiciary? This is what I pay taxes for? So said pleading having been mailed on 2/24/2006, same as noted, filed as the date pursuant trial rule 5F. Received $190 filing fee. Not enough copies for complaint to send back. Okay, of course not. So on 3/1/2006, there's summons issued to Nat Scott, Charles Scott, Finance System, William Cross, Betty Cross, and on Jane and John Doe, right? So on 3/3/2006, return of summons issued to defendants Charles and Nat Scott, left and mailed copies on 3/2/2006. Return of summons issued to defendants Jane and John Doe. House empty, 422 Randolph Street. First mention of it, right? And I talked to Bruce at Docs Pop. He doesn't work there anymore, but Bruce was worked there for a long time. And I said, isn't it sneaky to put it in parentheses? Because, see, I found mine and my husband's socials in here. And I found my grandchildren's identities in these parentheses, too, in other cases. He said, oh, yeah. Because especially since in the heading, they didn't want parentheses put in, and it is not, they didn't want it built into the search logic, which tells me that you guys reel things in through the parentheses and the brackets in these cases. So here's not in the heading, the house is being foreclosed upon for sure is 422 Randolph Street in 2006. This was found out through an anchor date search because the reported owner and seller was Paul Stickle. But he wasn't showing as owner of the record at the land records office, now was he? And Lingle Real Estate failed to tell Rachel this. And he did this to approximately, I don't know how many homeowners, but you jailed his girlfriend. Now he's dating a state court judge. Plus he's got a sickly wife who seems very nice, actually. But you guys don't ever jail him, right? And here's this Charles Hyde, who is either the son of an attorney Hyde or he is Hyde and Horn, the judge's former partner under this case, this corrupt judge. I'm alleging he's corrupt. So on 3/3/2006, they returned it to defendants left. For Jane and John Doe, the house is empty, 422 Randolph Street. So on 5/24/2006, remember this started in 2006, Plaintiff by counsel Brian Redmond files motion to dismiss party. Defendant's motion for default judgment entry and decree of foreclosure. Non-military affirmation and affidavit in support of plaintiff's judgment entry and decree of foreclosure. Affidavit of attorney fees. 2 orders submitted. And then on 5/25/2006, order dismiss parties. Defendants Jane and John Doe. See order. Then they dismiss them, right? And then I put, of course, the parentheses address. It allows an insert of any property. It is a template. If this is the property they were foreclosing on, then it should have been in the main. My goodness, no one wants this to be revealed. I feel like I am fighting. Okay, that was back in 2013. I did these notes. 5/25/2006. They got rid of Jane and John Doe, and then on 6/5/2006, it is ordered that the default be entered against the defendants. Hearing for determination of the amount to be awarded plaintiff and or relief is now set for June 27, 2006 at 10:30 a.m. See entry. So then on 6/27, default judgment entry and decree of foreclosure. 6/27/2006. I just want to go up here and make sure on the disposition. There we go. 6/27/2006. Case should have been over, right? Oh no. We got some more redocketing, mill churning. Remember, now they've changed the name. They don't have the address up in the heading. This is how they do a redocket. So, here we go. 5/25. Hearing for determination, June 27. Default judgment entry and decree of foreclosure. Plaintiff by counsel, Brian Redmond, files a precipice to clerk for sale on 7/17/2006. Then it shows execution 28/695 issued to Sheriff of Wayne County, which was Matt Strittmatter. Book number 2006, page 1011. Court costs tax in the amount of $130.50 on 7/20/2006, right? And then returned on execution. Received from Sheriff of Wayne County, check number 4 in the amount of $16,668.87. Clerk's receipt number minus document fee. Total amount applied to claims $16,663.82. Well, that's a lie, because Paul Stickle bought this home October the 1st, 2006. That's how he came into on 11/9/2006. They're saying they received a check, and that check came from Mears, from Brian K. Redmond, from and to Mears, to be paid to the judge. But on October the 1st, 2006, Paul Stickle bought the property, reportedly for cash. So there's 2 transactions occurring in here. And Paul Stickle got away with basically murder. He's got away with everything. He's running around free and clear, and he's dating a state court judge, right, guys? So on 11/9/2006, the clerk's check 91306 in the amount of $16,285, dated 11/10/2006, issued to Mortgage Electronic, care of attorney Brian K. Redmond, clerk of courts, in the amount of $378.66, dated 11/10, is issued to Wayne County Treasurer. There was actually a check for $16,000 something dollars. So they're doing transactions with Mears Mom's Mortgages. So here you got, this is an old shadow docket. Now you got a new foreclosure that happened in 2012. She caught them not assigning her the right loan when she found the fraud. She wasn't obligated to. She pled it. She did everything she's supposed to do. She did it right. Judge knows it. They couldn't win fair and square. They had to bring in this bigwig. So they got 1 property, 2 mortgage deeds, 2 warranty deeds, 1 case, 1 property reportedly in 2012. And so you guys can go look at that. It is 1 property, 1 case, 2 mortgages, 2 warranty deeds for 1 property and 1 case under Judge Horn again. Why? Because Judge Horn has an interest in that property, 422 Randolph Street. Somebody still owns the mineral rights. Isn't that correct, Judge Horn? Plus, there's a sewage main out front. Plus, it looks like you guys actually sold Rachel the 164. It looks like they might have just done everybody this way. This 164 is 411 Randolph Street, right? So you sold her a worthless piece of crap. She paid U.S. Bank, and instead of doing the honorable thing, and I mean, I'm talking not committing the crime, you guys continue to cover it up. You took great, and you need to go down and lose your license, all of you, lose your pension funds, and be jailed for this. It's a crime. Neil, I asked you that day. I told you that I was going to call the Treasury. I asked you if he was running that property under an undisclosed land contract to 938 South 17th, and they were submitting a fake mortgage into the record, if that was a crime, and you said yes. And I went down and talked to Deborah Rash, and I dialed your number. They put me through to your voicemail, heard your voicemail. I held the phone while she told you that's a crime, right? Why is he not in jail yet? So back to this. On 11/9/2006, it's saying that they issued a check. Plaintiff by counsel Stephanie Beckner files assignment of judgment. Not enough copies sent for return. Of course, again, right, on 1/18/2007. Plaintiff by counsel Eric Welch. This is on 10/23/2008. This is when Rachel lives in her 422 Randolph, her first home ever that she saved for a while. She had good credit, she had money in the bank, and she was excited. She was going to buy a home. And she went and bought this, right, from Tim Orr of Lingle Real Estate, title abstract or abstracts title of Richmond, where the county attorney is president of. Judge Snow used to be president of it, and now Judge Horn used to be the former owner of record, had her listed as West End Bank, and I'm sure that the FBI has a history. It's on the internet. It's public record. Kathy Puckett was arrested. West End Bank was involved, and so was a silent partner. And I showed that's Paul Stickle. I showed pictures where he's dating a state court judge. He doesn't go to jail. Every woman down there at the land record office is mad. The deputy sheriff's mad. You all don't think it's a crime. I mean, you don't think it's any big deal. This guy gets away with it. It's a huge deal. Is this how you operate? So he doesn't have to pay taxes to the IRS. He doesn't have to report to the Treasury. And he's got these little deals with all the judges. And you guys aren't going to do a thing about this, huh? And Judge Horn's trying to look like he's Mr. Oh, I got a conflict of interest with this guy who stalked his wife. I better give this criminal a break and let me prosecute this mother and her two children, threaten to throw her in jail and make her pay on a fake mortgage. He needs to go to jail. And I'm going to be the number one witness against him. I want a grand jury. I want him investigated by I want him. So is this how it is? I tell you. Mm-mm-mm. So, damn, I'm mad about this. On 1/18/2007, plaintiff by counsel Stephanie Beckner files assignment of judgment, right? Not enough copies sent for return. 10/23/2008, plaintiff by counsel Eric Welch. Well, where did Eric Welch enter at? Isn't that Welch in Muncie, Indiana, right? Files a motion for discovery of employment records to non-party Indiana Department of Workforce Development. By the way, guys, I talked to somebody that owns this house, and I actually helped her investigate. She works at the Indiana Department of Workforce Development. They're crooked as all get out, too. Isn't that right? You guys are funneling funds through there, too, aren't you? Through the cards, the cards you're all using for people that get like benefits and unemployment insurance, things like that. Because this goes to the 938 South 17th Street property that I showed. This is how they do it, where I show that 938 South 17th being foreclosed upon in unison. They drop Judge Horns and they open it back right here in this redocket. There it is. Guys, can you figure it out? This is for the 422 Randolph, but this here is for the 938 South 17th. So attorney Eric Welch files appearance for plaintiff Mears. Plaintiff by counsel files a sign, and Mears is not on the 938 South 17th. That is Dyke O'Neill. This is the Mears mom's mortgage scheme operating in the circuit courts. That's who's housing the mom's mortgages. The Mears original mortgage. That's where R.K. Arnold couldn't say where they were housed. Congress knows, though. They were playing word games, right? And then the lady from Michigan in 2011, the fine lady from Michigan stated, she testified, Mears will foreclose on you because you guys are doing a big birth certificate scam. Isn't that right? So don't tell me the birth certificates aren't being used. I'm going to tell you right now, I am the heir to that any estate that I have, and through my bloodline, you're not taking this. You're not administrating any estate properly, and you're a bunch of crooks. So here comes attorney Eric Welch files appearance for plaintiff Mears. Plaintiff by counsel files assignment of judgment, motion to substitute plaintiff, and this is where this Dyke O'Neill comes in from the 938 South 17th. So we'll go down. Order to Indiana Department of Workforce Development. I'll show you the post-it notes of this later. 10/27/2008. Order on motion to substitute plaintiff. See order. It is therefore ordered the movant Dyke O'Neill Incorporated is hereby substituted as plaintiff herein, and that was a 938 South 17th that does not belong in this shadow docket. And that's what I call it, and this is why I call it this, because Indiana is a judicial foreclosure state. You're not allowed to run concurrent foreclosures in the judicial. Okay. See that? See this, guys? Redocket. 938 South 17th. It's a redocket. A redocket is to happen if it is the same property, same subject matter, same set of facts, not a different foreclosure that's on the outside running in unison with this one. You can't run double foreclosures and let an attorney's firm pay you into the judicial pension fund through lawyers' trust account and pay you behind the scenes. And you cannot do this because you're collecting HARP and HOPE funds and you're ripping off the feds. I want W-9s, and I want to know that you filed all the proper IRS paperwork, right? Hey, guys, go in there and ask them if they did it. If it was one of us, you'd be all over us, right? We'd be in jail for tax evasion. Plaintiff by counsel Eric Welch files motion for proceeding supplemental to execution. 7/27. Order to appear in court, Annette Scott. See order. Order to answer interrogatories and interrogatories. I've already talked to Annette Scott. She said, you guys, that foreclosure was over. I gave you her phone number. Call her. If not, I can call her. I'm going to ask her if you called, because it'll come up later. She can do an affidavit. These folks' identities have been wrapped up in this too. Not just my daughter and my entire family. Not to mention Renee and Jean and the Webbs. Not to mention my two dead brothers, or my dead grandfather, or my dead uncle. Not to mention all the dead veterans you all are taking land under. You're letting Metropolitan Life Insurance Company come in and run a livestock company. Are you all Jewish? Because they're pretend Jewish people. Are you all thinking you're above everything? I hope not. Jesus. This is human. This is a cover for human trafficking, child trafficking, human trafficking, and slavery. This is a crime. And plus, you're running secret prisoners in the jail system too, right? Because I got a little grandson with 97 warrants under his social that was issued. That's stealing government issued property. Why would you pin that on him? He didn't do a damn thing to anybody, did he? 97 warrants under that social security number. I'm not lying about it. I'll tell you one thing, if I was lying about it, I'd already been my butt in jail or somewhere, or the men in black would have already came here. But no, they didn't, because I'm not lying. So 7/31 of 2009, return on order to appear issued to garnish defendant Cineram, signed by Donna Thompson on 7/30 of 09. Now we can go back and check with Nikki Hensley, which is Renee, Teresa Irene Sorrell, my niece. That is her sister. That is my step niece. She worked at Cineram, and I know Donna, by the way, folks. So let's talk about this. You guys are kind of off in your time frames, just by about a month, right? Sure are. Just a little bit, because Cineram closed down. So on 731. Okay. Oh, we got 23. We got 23 results. That's good. So here is an Anna Laura Scott, right? Right? This is all in Wayne County. Then we got an Annette Scott, right? Here's a citation because this is how they like to do it. There's Annette. Let's find how many Judge Horns cases are going on. But let's look right here. 623, 2008. There's a mortgage foreclosure of, this is the 202. We're going to look at all these since we just got one foreclosure up. Let's do. I think this is it. Is this a month overlap? 10-1, 7-14. This is the 938 South 17th. And this is 2. How much you want to bet, guys? This is 89D02. This is Judge Horns. This is the one that they're going to dismiss. 07, that's filed. That's 2007, the 9th month of 2007. They're saying mortgage foreclosure. Now here is 89C01, filed 2008, the 6th month. So mortgage foreclosure 092, Annette Scott, right? So this one is not Judge. This is the real one that's going on out here behind the scenes for the 938 South 17th. But let's just open it up. You wanna? In a different window. We'll just leave that open. So we got Doyle and Friedemeyer, Jack F. Blakely, Deutsche Bank National Trust, Annette Scott, 938 South 17th, Charles Scott, 938 South 17th, David Colger at the courthouse. Of course, they list them as parties. It's a little different though here. So we're going to go down, and this is on from 6. Let's look at the disposition date. 6/19 of 2008 to 10/1 of 2008. So when Rachel was living in her house, she bought her home reportedly, 422 Randolph Street. And remember this, 3/14 of 2008, she bought her home reportedly. They're saying that this file date was 6/19 of 2008, right? This takes it back to the previous foreclosure of the 422 Randolph Street under the same folks' name. Just remember those dates, and we're going to go down to 6/19. There's a sheriff's fee, summons issued for Annette and Charles Scott, summons to Annette Scott, served on 6/25 by leaving and mailing to 938 South 17th. And then served on 6/25, leaving and mailing to 938 South 17th to Charles Scott. Plaintiff Deutsche Bank National Trust Company by attorney S. Brent Potter files amended complaint on note and for foreclosure of mortgage. This is on 7/25, 2008. Plaintiff Deutsche Bank National Trust by attorney Jack F. Blakely files affidavit in support of attorney fees, application for affidavit for default judgment, affidavit of indebtedness, and non-military affidavit. Then on 8/22, default hearing is scheduled for October 1st, 2008. Well, Paul Stickle bought the home on October the 1st, 2006. Ain't that right, folks? Through the sheriff, right? Right? Is that right? Did he own it or didn't he? Because he's not showing up as on the record as owning it. Huh? He didn't get in trouble for any of this, did he? Kathy Puckett went to jail, didn't she? I'm not saying she didn't deserve to, but I'll tell you one thing, my daughter doesn't deserve any of this. She never did, and neither do the other victims. And so who do you guys protect? The criminals, or do you just prosecute the public? Tim Horty, what do you do about this? What say you? Right? You're the big corruption man, told me to keep on trying for what? So you guys can try to close it all up. You can't even win because it's over. There's no way that they can even win fair and square. They're busted. And what good does that do? None of you care? Wait till it comes on you or your family. It'll be a different story then, won't it? Wait till it's one of your youngest daughters. Wait till it's one of your youngest females or your youngest males. Offspring. Just wait until it's one of yours and see how you feel. Just wait and see. Just wait. Just think about if your grandmother or mother found this. How would they feel about it? You live with yourself for this. This is sickening. Because this is not the October 1st, 2008. That's an anchor date. That goes back to the 422 Randolph. This is 938 South 17th. So let's go on down. Deutsche Bank National Trust Company by attorney James L. Shoemaker files precipice for sheriff sale. These are the two properties. One sold for 98,000, the other for 68,000. And in the documents signed by the loan officer Jessica McGuire in a continuing criminal enterprise with the courts, the attorneys, the title company, the U.S. Bank, a huge trust, right, that's running throughout all the courts and all the land, correct? And mirrors that houses the mortgages where? In the circuit courts. And Congress sitting up there playing word games. Isn't it true that Mears has infiltrated the courts? And the guy from RK Honors going, um, yes, Mears is reflected in the courthouses. Nobody knows what they're talking about, right? I do. And so do you guys. You've known it. That's how you make your money off of rehypothecations, etc., etc. Plaintiff do, and then you had both of my daughter's home SWAT team. Why? So you could have a juvenile with a gun charge so that you could prosecute another paper doll prisoner. I know exactly what's going on. And that's the next video. So plaintiff Deutsche Bank National Trust Company by attorney James L. Shoemaker prize precipice for sheriff's sale on 1/13/2009. Now wait, there's going to be another redocket, folks. It gets better. Not in this one, in the next one, but you got to pay attention to these dates. So court costs tax in the amount of $133. Received from Sheriff of Wayne County, check number 7322 in the amount of $7, minus document fee of $7. Total amount applied to claim. It doesn't have any amount, right? It's just blank, right? Plaintiff Deutsche Bank National Trust Company by attorney James L. Shoemaker files notice of change of address. Ooh, I wonder where that's at. 5/4/2009, right? Okay. So let's go back to this shadow file of mirrors. Here's 2006, 2006, 2006. Let's go on down. Here we go into 2008. This is the 938 South. Oh, I know what I needed to do. I have to go back to this. Here's Judge Horns, the Honorable Little Man, Greg Horn, right? Who held 5 of us as audience members while he did what he did to my daughter and then talked about retaliation. Tit for tat. Guess what? It's not fair playing field, is it here now? Little man. Little man, little mind. So here's Stephanie Beckner. She's the attorney that is entered under this. This Stephanie Beckner is, this is 0505. I have to go back. Hold on. I'll leave this alone. And we got to go to 112. This is the 89D02-0709MF-112. And this is the one we were just in. And this is the double foreclosure. There we go. Jack F. Blakely Doyle and Friedemeyer PC. See, we got a whole slew of attorneys involved here. We got Deutsche Bank National Trust Company, address as trustee for Carrington Mortgage Loan Trust Series 2005-NC3. Now, this is the deal. This is a fake case. They're going to close this case up. As you can see, 9/7/2007, disposition date 7/14/2008. Rachel moved into that house and they saw her coming. And Gregory Alton Horn knows all about it. He knows what I put back into his court was the truth. And what did he do? What did he do? He didn't care what we thought, did he? He really should have cared. This is a breach of the trust of the public. It's avoiding taxes. I'm going to go ahead and serve him W-9s. I'm going to send them to him. I'm going to send all of them W-9s, and I'm going to find out if they've been filing their taxes. Since you guys won't do your job, I'll do it for you. How's that? Anyway, as you can see, the difference is here, and I've done a video about this already, done plenty of stuff. Neil, you know what's going on. And Rich Delmar, I guess you don't care. I don't know. Do you ever go up on the hill and tell them, hey, there's some people down in Indiana. This old girl found out what's going on and she's not very happy, and I don't think we should be operating this way, right? I think this would be against international law. I think it is. I think it's a crime. I think that all of you that are letting it continue and perpetrating this fraud are guilty as well. So here's Annette Scott, 938 South 17th, and I don't got to get any status right. I know my status. I am above all. I have the most universal right. Those these are my offspring, and their offspring is flesh of my flesh. They're not animals. They are That's my daughter, my son, both my daughters, my son, my grandsons, my granddaughters. They're not animals. And you can take that birth certificate and you can give them all protection because I demand it. I demand it. You are required to do it. I have found this out, and I'm telling you, all of you are involved. I know you are. And what I'm talking about, all of you, I mean Obama administration, the Bush administration, the New York insurance commissioner that let MetLife come in and start selling us all like livestock and created an avenue to run human trafficking and slavery through and to create a prison system where the prisoners aren't real and bad state actors are collecting federal grants and everybody's doing patronage. You're all sharing in the profits, right? Your pension funds are getting fatter and the masses are you're killing us all, right? You're making us do without what we earned rightfully. And you feel okay about this, do you? Why do you think I'd find this out? You don't think I got somebody on my side? Better think again. So here's Annette Scott, 938 South 17th, same address. Jack Blakely, da 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 da, and it's going to go on down. But see, on 7/14/2008, order of dismissal. See, order is order that this cause is dismissed without prejudice, costs paid. See the amount? Mm-hmm. Did you notice that other amount? There was a zero amount on the other case, the same property. Let me see. Yeah. Yeah, right here. See that? They're not going to put that amount, are they? But here's 163, there's 156, there's 163. Then we've got this one, which is the same address. Oh no, this is a shadow docket, right? This is online shadow docket. So here are these two foreclosures. Yeah, I want to see which one I got here. Yeah. Yep. This is the one for Judge Horn's court for the 938 South 17th that they dismissed. So I'm going to close that out. That ends in cause number 112. I'm going to close it out. I'm going to make sure I close it out right. And then here is the right one that it ran out here in Judge Colger's court. And I haven't had a problem with him. But here's 89C01-0806, which is your 2008 6-month mortgage foreclosure 092. It's for the 938 South 17th. They go on down, right? These are trust funds and things. There was a Deutsche National Bank trust, right? Because they're running through the back course, and that's why they don't want to name them anywhere. I'm going to close out of this. This ends in 092. Then we're going to go to C, this 112 and 092. That's 938 South 17th. And then I'll go ahead and open this up again just to show you. This is a shadow redocket that I went in and got the actual printout on that I showed you, which is this, because I got it from the court. I went in and got these files from the court. So I just want to show you that this is how they do it. So here's Stephanie Beckner, who practiced or was licensed in Colorado, worked for Finewell and Hanoi. Here's the Dyke O'Neill. Here's the Jane and John Doe finance system. Annette Scott, Charles Scott, Gregory Alton Horn, Charles R. Hyde is listed, and we go on down, and then it goes on down and shows you that it should have been over in 2006. Disposition date 6/27/2006. Even then, even if it didn't then, 1/18/2007. Plaintiff by counsel Stephanie Beckner files assignment of judgment. Not enough copies to be sent. That's the second time, right? Plaintiff by counsel Eric Welch on 10/23/2008, right? So Eric Welch comes in, and that's for the 938 South 17th, and you'll see it because they didn't change anything, and if they did, it'll show up. So 6/27/2009, there's a redocket, right? And I'm pretty sure there's also another redocket. Let's see. We're going to go back to this one because I trust this one because I don't trust them. They update that system. So as you saw, this is a 422 Randolph Street. That's how they do it. Right there it is. These two were filed concurrently with the month overlap, and then they just redocket it back into this. And here, let's look at this one while we're at it. Annette Carter Scott. Let's find this one too, because here's the tax warrant. They came in under Mears. See that? Annette Scott, 422 Randolph Street. Now let's see. There's a tax warrant. Tax warrant satisfied per letter from state 3/21/2003, right? 422 Randolph. And this used to have her social in it. And I have it, by the way. I have it. I have ours too, because little old Wayne County made a big mistake back in 2003 on a whole bunch of taxpayers, it seems. But they try to act like it's an income deal. It is not. It is not. I argued with the state about this. They're all in on this. But this is part of what Mears came in and paid a second check to. Not Paul Stickles buying this property because he supposedly owned it. This is what Mears came in under a warrant that was already paid in the year 2003. But they came in 2006. So let's do this. So we're back to this case, just to go back up here again, then I'll go back down. This is the 89D020602MF025. File date 2/24/2006. Disposition date supposedly 6/27/2006. 6/2006, sorry. So it's one foreclosure, one property. Of course, the property's not listed up here, and this party's been changed. And I showed you what's going on the outside here, right? And of course, Greg Horn's listed as a party because Pamela White was under him. He never left the case. He never left Pamela White. He's operating under West End Bank. That's her address. That's the address he gave for her. So here we've already went through this. This is the property. So we go and I show this. Jane and John Doe, they dismiss them. Get into 1/18/2007. Then we get into Eric Welch, which is the guy from Muncie, right across from the FBI, right? Big wig up there in Muncie. And Delaware County, I think, is where Muncie's at. There was a big bust go on up there under the recorder. He had to leave, right? But he didn't get prosecuted criminally, did he? He just got civil charges, right? And had to leave office. They said there were some judges involved. Nothing's ever came of that, right? So here we got an order to appear. And then this answer to Cineram, I told you. So here's an order to appear. Annette Scott C. order. Order to answer interrogatories from Cineram. I told you I knew the people. My niece worked there, and this is not in the timeline. It should have been. Order dismissing motions for proceedings supplemental. And got to go back because this is a redocket somewhere. I saw it. There we go. Redocket. Right? Then the 938 South 17th, because this is how they listed. The 422 Randolph Street was listed the same way in parentheses. It's not in the heading. This is a redocket. This is a shadow docket. This is how they do it. Then we'll go down to, we're going to go to another property now, folks. Every address you see is one of them they're running this mill in. So 9/4/2009, order dismissing motion for proceedings supplemental, September 15th, it's hereby vacated. 9/4/2009, order to appear on Annette Scott. And then we're going to calls called for hearing on 10/20/2009. We're going to go on down. There's a redocket again, see? right there was a redock at 226 2010, and they're running a bankruptcy and all this because Mr. Boston, who prepared the backdated Alta title policy commitment, is the private Department of Justice trustee. Hmm? Got some big wigs here, huh? They're just playing a little backward scam on this bankruptcy mill, huh? So everything that these people, you guys are saying, oh, you don't want to do that. Are you trying to play sovereign? Are you trying to do this? Why wouldn't anybody want to try to do that? Look at what you guys are doing. Everything that they're saying, that people are saying about y'all, it's true. You're going back before the 1933 Bankruptcy Act, and you're ripping everybody off, and there's no reason for anybody to pay taxes with what you've done. Why would you? What for? What for? To keep out of jail? Guess what? Guys are planning on jailing everybody anyway. That's pretty clear. It's gotten completely out of hand, and you know it. And you think Obama cares? I don't think any of the presidents care. I don't think any of Congress cares. I think that you all think you're above the law. And I tell you, this isn't the America I grew up in, or that my grandparents did, or my parents. And this is a horrible thing that's happened. You know it's bad. You know it's bad. So here we've got 2010. They took it to the they're going to take it. It's a redocket. So here in a minute, it's going to show up where they serve somebody, I think at 903 North 9th or something. Oh, it's 938 South 17th still. That's okay. So maybe they foreclosed twice on that. So there's the redocket. Here's another redocket. And of course, Indiana Department of Workforce Development's listened I don't know how many times, and so is NATCO Credit Union. And my friend Kim Harmeyer worked there, and you got Deborah Rash already backdating the in the Bam Bam Crook file. It shows where it was marked out for the year 2007, and the year 2008 was put in there. And Kim Harmeyer didn't work there then. I know her. I've got the hometown advantage, guys. I know all these people. Every one of them. I've talked to them. I verified my facts. I'm not lying. I swear, under the pains and penalty of perjury, that what I'm stating is the facts, and it's based on the facts on these documents from the courthouse and from the land records, and to the best of my knowledge, and I'm swearing to it. So let's go on down here because we're going to get another address. Let's see order. There we go. 713th South 9th Street, right? So I could go look this up, and I will after a while, but it's 713 South 9th. That's just yet another redocket. And then order to Indiana Department of Workforce Development. See order. Annette Scott by attorney Charles Scott files notice of bankruptcy stay. 3/23/2011. Notice of bankruptcy stay. 3/23/2011. This is under a redocket, right? Keep on bringing up Indiana Department of Workforce Development, NATCO Credit Union. See this? Received back from William Cross. Now remember, Ronald Lloyd Cross is the county attorney. So this is William and Betty Lou Cross. They have like 2,900 something properties. I had a whole bunch of properties. Deputy Laura Roberts knew all about it. She's the one that told me to go over there and get this. And it had an extra zero in it from what they were showing at the courthouse. It had an extra zero. I got this, and the old lady said, I'm so sorry, this is the attorney's file. Then the clerk, the last week of February, goes, you got the judge's notes. Well, I'm about to show you some judge's notes. So see this? Received back from William Cross, deceased. Well, of course, he'd been deceased since the year 1999. Around 1999. They run the probate through a little court over in Hagerstown. And the attorney for Betty Lou Cross most recently retired. So and as you can see, this is the end of that. So now we're going to get into how this was what was inside the file. See this? Mortgage electronic registration system, and his nominee for Deutsche Bank National Trust Company, as trustee, What, for Carrington? The 938 South 17? Because this is for the 422 Randolph Street, right? And I do a shadow docket, so I won't go back through all this, but I do want to go to a couple things. Let's see if I can. This is a LIBOR rate caps, right? The date is 3/13 of 2003, which is very similar to backdating Rachel's. They had her make out her cashier's check to 3/13/2008. All you got to do is close that loop on that 3, right? Tim Moore is very good, isn't he? This has to do with Betty Cross. Pamela White, who Judge Horn presented for and was involved with, and for Pamela White, Pamela Medford, and they gave the address for West End Bank. So here's a prepayment rider. Do you see this, guys? Do not record attached to note. That's pretty amazing because that's not on file at the Land Records Office either, is it? Because y'all are writing a bunch of riders on the back of everybody in this court system. But let me go back to this last part. Oh, here's an allonge. This is good. Oh, let me show you this. This is how they do it. See all these, everybody? See this? All of those. They run them behind the scenes in the circuit courts. That's where the fraud's happening. They played right along with everybody because they're in bed with the banks, because they're acting as a bank. Judge Horn forced Rachel to pay taxes to his court, not the clerk. She was to pay him to his clerk upstairs, evidently, because we sent in the payment, certified money order. She sent it to you, Rich, a copy of that, where she did not consent, but she sent it to keep her from going to jail. He didn't want that. She had to pay it to his court because he's a bank, correct? Did you know he was a bank? At the Wayne County Courthouse, Judge Horn's court is a bank to pay taxes. Is that correct? On a fake mortgage that's not at the Land Records Office, and a fake warranty deed that ties to 938 South 17th. Oh, there's another prepayment rider. There's a adjustable rate rider. Let's find these judges' notes. Oh, I like this too. This is their mill, the way they do it. And I talked to the girls that are scared to death, and they need to be Fatty and Fatty. Old Wendy Kitchell and Michelle Ragusi and Andrew David or David Andrew. They're running a mill too. So's Finewell and Hanoi. That's how's come they got these file numbers. It's obvious as the day is long. And I told them, if you think I'm going to let you get away with what stealing my grandchildren's identity, you got another thing coming. You notice this right here? Notice that? That special stamp? Let's go down here and look, because Charles Scott's taken off the record in here. He doesn't get foreclosed upon at all. You notice this? That should be redone. That should be redone, correct? That should have been redone. It wasn't. You don't do a new copy. So let's see. There's from the sheriff, and I checked all this out. It was correct. I checked it all out. It was correct. That's when I called Laura Roberts because, of course, the fine sheriff was promoted by Governor Pence to the man in charge of excise, right? So the deed, sheriff's after sale and execution. This conveyance made this 4th day of October 2006 witnesseth that Paul M. Strittmatter as sheriff of Wayne County in the state of Indiana by virtue of a certificate of purchase issued upon a sale made by virtue of a copy of decree numbered 89D02-0602-MF-025 issued out of the Wayne Superior Court 2. You did one of those on me too, didn't you, Judge Horn? And watch. They need to be playing that song, Bad Boys, what you gonna do? Because what you gonna do when they come for you? Because you did the same thing to me and you didn't think you thought I didn't catch it. I caught it. I catch everything you do. You don't go up and say, oh, it's a pretty snake, and you know it's poisonous and think, oh, my word, it bit me. I knew what you were about. I knew it when I saw this. So I've been watching you, and you're stupid. You went and done whatever you wanted, and you think somehow, well, I can get out of this. No, you can't. This is freaking huge. And this is a good reason to bring it down to. That's how huge it is. You guys got insurance. Pay yourself insurance for malpractice and corruption of your system and stop it. So here we got decree number data issued out of the Wayne Superior Court to Court of Wayne County in the 17th Judicial Circuit of the State of Indiana, wherein Mortgage Electronic Registration Systems Incorporated as nominee for Deutsche Bank National Trust Company as trustee was plaintiff, and Annette Scott and Charles Scott, Betty Cross, Finance System, William Cross were defendants. Well, they're dead, aren't they, guys? William Cross says anyway, right? Finance System is a corporation that's involved in all this because the Ford, where the judge told Rachel to pay, I'll show that in a minute. Remember this Finance System. I'm going to show you how it ties in. So Charles Scott was let out of it, right? Conveys to Stickle Properties LLC for the sum of $16,901 and 0 cents all of the following described real estate in the county of Wayne. And it says Lot 154 in the Haynes addition to the city of Richmond, commonly known as 422 Randolph, right? Okay. And then it gives a sales disclosure that I had to dig for. I had to make this chick give it to me, right? And the date is 10/40 of 2006, right? That's what it says. But nothing was shown on the land records. Here's strip matter. Stickle Properties LLC, 10/4/2006. Ah, there we go. Looky there. Payee, Wayne County Treasurer. Payor, Mortgage Electronic Registration System. Cause number, $378.66. West End Bank. West End Bank. Clerk of Wayne County Circuit Court. To the Wayne County Treasurer, $300, right? Sue Ann Lauer. Sue Ann left, right? She's down in Florida. She got a whole gob of property down there. But hold on, because I'm not done yet. I got to get up here. There you go. Let's see. I got to find this. Pay to the order of the clerk of the Wayne County Court, $16,668.82. Old National Bank, Mears versus Scott, Paul Strip Matter, 10/6 of 2006, right? This is paid. Payee, Wayne County Treasurer, Payor, Mortgage Electronic Registration System, November the 10th, 2006, which is the 938 South 17th. They switched to Weedling over to this. Now, hold on. I'll show you in a minute. Payee, Payor, 378. It does, because the numbers don't jive up at all. And then we're going to go into where the clerk parsed out the numbers. And this is in part where I got the warrants that I showed you. Here's the taxes, right, that was paid in 2003. And a weed lien to 938 South 17th. And Karen Chastain told my husband Jim and I 2 weeks ago, and I told you about it, Neil. I gave you her number. She told us that Douglas Goss, who is a common counsel, is the county city connection in the weed lien, and so is Tony Foster. And they're switching weed liens. So the 938 South 17th came in. This is why they paid him, under fake ass warrants. Anytime you ever change your name, you must notify the Wayne County Clerk of Court's office immediately. This is not complete. You see the 89D02 is off of there. So she parsed that out. That's not all. Let's go on down. See this? November 10th, 2006. Check number, right? $16,285.16. The payee is Mortgage Electronic Registration Systems. The payor is Mortgage Electronic Registration Systems. The cause number is 89D020602-MF-025, and the clerk of Wayne County Circuit Court, West End Bank, pay to Mortgage Electronic Registration System, care of Brian K. Redmond, and they're caught colluding with criminals on this. There is no reason. Paul Stickle came in and paid, and then you guys got payees and payors, and you got an extra transaction here based on fake weed liens that belong to 938 South 17th and an already paid warrant from 2003. And this chick quit suddenly. They've got a continuous bond on her. Oh, and here is a Scott and Charles Scott, 2005. See, they took our file numbers, 2005 4426, because it's part of a mill, right? Another thing, the lot numbers in these cases. Here it is, correspondence. See that dot? C11-6-2007? See that? I got this right here in some of Tammy L. Ortman's things. This right here. See that correspondence with the dot? You guys having fun with your retarded writing? I guess you don't know that maybe there's some Freemasons in my family, right? You guys don't got the like the Scottish Free Rite Masons, Tammy Lynn Ortman. You don't got like the you don't haven't cornered the market on that. It doesn't take a genius to figure it out. It's throughout all the real estate documents, but here it's executed November the 6th, 2007. None of this was put in the book. See the grantee, 717 West Whitewater Road, Fountain City? That is Paul Stickle. And this was not recorded then because it wasn't on the record then. This was not on the record. That clerk down there in the plat room allowed Paul Stickle, he had so many transactions, to put it all in 2009. He never got in trouble. Everybody down there except for her because she's ditzy. He probably flirted with her and she felt flattered, but he's ugly. He's ugly. I don't even see why any state judge would want to go anywhere near him. He's a crook too. Everything he's driven and droven and does, he's a thief. You guys tell I'm mad at him? Can't believe he's not in jail. And here we got these judges doing this, throwing people in jail, and look at them. Look at this judge. He's a criminal. The judge allowed a young lady to be ridiculed. He actually retaliated. One of my friends said, "Oh, he's telling you something." Yeah, he's telling me that he doesn't know how to win because he got busted, right? And instead of doing the honorable thing and saying, "Look, I'm not going to let this happen. We're going to let this one go." Would have been that simple. He couldn't do that, could he? He arrogantly had to proceed. So here's the foreclosure. There's a check. There's money from Stickle. This Stickle worked for Mears. Fidelity Title's involved too. Brian Steckler from Lawyer Title. I still want to get down to this. Remember I told you about, here we go. Payment, local check, total received $16,668. Mortgage electronic registration receipt, official. Document fees are $5. Trust, $16,663 from Mortgage Electronic Registration System. What? For Deutsche Bank National Trust, Deutschland Bank, the name that's been changed now for Carrington Mortgage. And here comes, of course, Mortgage Electronic Registration Systems as nominee for Deutsche Bank National Trust Company, comma, as trustee. There's no comma there, but remember Carrington Mortgage for the 938 South 17th, right? And then they're going to make him the plaintiff, right? On the 27th day of October. Rachel lived in the house then. She's making her payment, guys. She's making her payments, albeit to the wrong people. But when we found this, I told her, don't you make another payment to them. U.S. banks operating a scam here, and they're operating on behalf of Mears and for this Deutschland Bank, and there is a huge shadow docket system going on. And that's pled in the papers. And nobody wants you to fix the case. But I tell you what, you better go arrest somebody besides the people that are reporting it to you. Because a whistleblower is not supposed to be retaliated against. You're supposed to protect them, right? When are you going to start protecting? So here's the judge's notes. Make sure this gets noted in the judgment docket. So what? They go around, distribute it to Welch and Company, attorney for Dyke O'Neill, 117 North High Street, right? So Dyke O'Neill, who came in to foreclose on 938 South 17th, hired Welch and Company for this anchor date that's tied this 422 Randolph Street to the 938 South 17th. Annette Scott, 938 South 17th. See that? And judgment clerk, Wayne County. I called up Deborah Berry, who is the judgment clerk. Make sure this gets noted in the judgment docket. Those are the notes, the judge's notes. The clerk told me Dewey Lake's Aunt Vicky Fuller, I believe is her name. She's, when you first go in there, kind of got reddish hair. She told me, "You've got the judge's notes." I said, "Well, I didn't know it was the judge's notes. Thank you for telling me." And this is after the foreclosure, you see. This is the 938 South 17th, but this is in that file, right? So let's go to here. Here's a 513. This is all the shadow docket. Shadow file, Mears versus Scott, right? 5/13/2010 at 16:01 military time, which would be like, I don't know, 3 or 4 in the afternoon. Welch and Company LLC. That's backs out of Richmond, page 2 of 2. NATCO Credit Union. It gives a file number 5471. I can find that. State the correct name and address. Answer Natco Credit Union, P.O. Box 817. Answered. Answer. Checking. Annette Scott. Answer none. Eric Welch's office wanted to know, since they received positive interrogatories, although we never received a copy, he didn't say anything about it. On 4/20, 2010, Rachel was living in her house making her payments. She hadn't been foreclosed upon wrongfully till 2012, folks. This is for her house in a judicial foreclosure state. Can the order be signed? And a judge wrote, according to the clerk, yes, signed. So this is how they operate. Signature of person, and then there's Welch and Company, right? Now here is where it said, attorney for Annette Scott. And I talked to Annette and Charles Scott. He was to have been on the foreclosure and on this. And Mr. Boston from Abstract's Title of Richmond, Boston Beaver, Klingon Cross, and Chidester, the city and county attorney. And Mr. Boston, who filled out the backdated Alta title policy in this scam. He is the DOJ's appointed private Chapter 7 bankruptcy, which Rachel was forced to sign to keep the Honorable Gregory Alden Horn from putting her into jail if she didn't pay another, I don't know, we've paid about $18,000 if she didn't pay some more money to his court. She was going to go to jail, so she filed bankruptcy under Chapter 7, and guess who heard her case? Mr. Boston. He's a Chapter 7 guy. The DOJ appointed him, right? So here comes, supposedly according to that shadow docket, and let's look. There we go. Notice of bankruptcy stay. Let's get down to that real quick, because it's one of the last entries. And that's how they'll leave it. There we go. Defendant Annette Scott by attorney Charles Scott files notice of bankruptcy stay. Input date's 3/24. The date is 3/23 of 2011, right? Oh, they received back on 4/11 and 4/12 2011 that received back from William Cross, deceased, already dead. I know which case they're running this under, by the way, folks, the new shadow docket, but I won't go into that now. I want them to worry because I got them. I've got all the cases. I already got them. They have a copy. They have a, when I go in there, they take the state issued property ID and they put it into the computer and then they try to stop me, but I already get them. I can get them on here and I go in there and get them, and I've got the shadow dockets that this never ended. This case hasn't ended yet. So, as you see, that is on 3/24 2011, right? So, oh, excuse me. I want to make sure we're right on this. I don't want to mess up here. 3/23 2011. Annette Scott, by attorney Charles Scott, files notice of bankruptcy stay. And here you go. March 23rd, 2011, by Joanne Stewart, the lady who left suddenly, and her bond and her insurance is continuous, by the way, when she left, because she's crooked. Notice of bankruptcy stay comes now. The defendant, Annette Scott, through counsel, and respectfully requests the court stay the current proceeding for the following reason, to wit, that said defendant filed a voluntary bankruptcy petition with the United States Bankruptcy Court, Indianapolis Division, Southern District of Indiana, on March 22nd, 2011. Under cause number 11-03174-FJO 7, and the court on said date granted relief, staying future creditor collection activity pursuant to the United States Bankruptcy Code Section 362, that the said plaintiff was a scheduled creditor in said voluntary bankruptcy petition, wherefore the defendant respectfully requests the court stay the current proceedings and underlying creditor collection efforts, and for all other relief proper in the premises. Charles Hyde, Jr., counsel for defendant. That's, where's Charles Scott at, right? Attorney at law, attorney number 2203 East Main Street, Richmond, Indiana. And what did he do? He went to the Indiana Supreme Court Judicial Commission and voluntarily gave up his license so he can take a 5-year break from all of this. And he's asking for him to release 26 of the 29 charges against him. And the prosecuting attorney, Michael Shipman, has not prosecuted him to date. And he was told about this, man. Yeah. I think that's maybe enough.